Hi and welcome to Cooking with the Gastronerd. I'm Julianne Fader, food nerd extraordinaire, and I'm going to show you my favorite blueberry cobbler recipe. I love this recipe because it's delicious, it's one of my favorite things to eat, but best of all, I can throw it together in 5 minutes tops. So it's super easy and it's great for dinner parties. I'm going to have some butter. This is about a stick of melted butter, sugar, flour, blueberries, lemon zest, and a little cinnamon. Now, you might have noticed I didn't say any quantities because this is all kind of eyeballing. The only thing I kind of do is 1 stick of butter, and that's about it. And I vary how many blueberries I'm going to use depending on how many people are coming over. This is a hearty amount. It's like 4 little packets of blueberries. I also love about blueberry cobbler as opposed to other cobbler is I don't have to do anything other than wash the blueberries. So to get started, I'm going to do the crust. Now, crust, pastry crust. I went to culinary school, let me tell you, still making a pastry crust gives me nightmares. I get anxiety at night. So what I love about this is you start with your 1 stick of melted butter, and obviously if you're making more, 2 sticks, 3 sticks, whatever. And I'm gonna just add butter and sugar to taste until it is fully absorbed. So, and generally the idea here is the ratio of sugar to flour is roughly 1 to 2. You know, you want it to be more flour, more dough than sugar, but you know, it's a decent amount of sugar. This is really where the sweetness is gonna come in. And I love it, it's just so simple. It requires no thinking. And I'm literally just using a fork to mix this all together. And it's gonna be kind of soupy at first, and that's why it's just an adding game. So adding more, Oop, that's my oven, it's just preheated. I preheated the oven to 425. So the real key here is you want to have a nice brown golden crust, but you also want it to be cooked. So I started at 425 to get that crust, but then over the course of its cooking time, about halfway through, so about 20 minutes in, you just gotta eyeball it, and that's part of it. Eyeball it. When it turns golden, then you can turn it down to like 350, and then it'll just finish off. So now it's getting nice and hard. That's what she said. And there's one way to make sure the ratio is intact, it's balanced. Just taste it. I mean, this is sugar, flour, butter. What's not to love about this? I've never shared this secret before. People have requested this cobbler at weddings. Just to give you an idea, my cousin wanted this for his wedding last summer. Ultimately, they went with the cake. So it's super buttery, it has a nice little crunch from the sugar. Perfect. Done. That's it. That's the crust. Now on to the filling. So I just washed the blueberries. That's it. It's good to wash blueberries. Organic's great, but above all, the important thing is to taste them before. These are medium sweet. Some blueberries are wonderful and vibrant and really sweet. Some are a little more mild. This is a little bit more mild. So I'm going to add a tiny bit of sugar. Just a little. Sometimes I add no sugar, depending, because they're super sweet. So that's why it's really important to taste. Now I'm gonna give a little zestiness to it. This is just a regular lemon in the zester or microplane. This is a great tool to have in your kitchen. It's gonna give it's so just versatile, and it's really great for creating especially zest. It's good for grating cheese too. So I love lemon zest, especially when I'm baking. It's gonna really help make that fruit pop. It adds a really refreshing note to it. Especially it's gonna balance out, there's a lot of butter in there, it's nice. About half or a quarter of a lemon, depending on how many blueberries you're going with, you can see. And then of course, a little secret, blueberries and cinnamon go really well together. I love cinnamon, I put cinnamon in virtually everything. It's healthy for you, and I just love it's a really warm flavor. So just a little dash. Notice I'm not measuring anything, but it's just sort of to coat. So I'm just gonna using the same utensil because I'm lazy. Just mix it all together. Cinnamon, warm, a little sweet, and then of course we got the lemon zest. So this is good to go. I have a little Pyrex right here. I prefer a almost equal ratio of crust to fruit. So I'm going with a more shallow one. You can obviously do a higher kind of any sort of baking dish. You can have fun with it, get creative. You can really put this in anything. And then I just like to go in with my hand, my favorite tool in the kitchen, and just kind of sprinkle it on top. Like I said, like a cobbler, I guess. Honestly, I'm trying to think the definition of a cobbler. It's like sort of sprinkled. It's not as fancy as, say, a pie as far as the pastry is concerned. And I always thought it's supposed to be like a gentle sprinkle across. I like it like a coat, like a blanket over my fruit. Because let's face it, that's the best part. There we have it, and just sort of sprinkled, and it's like a little crumb. This is going to expand as it cooks, and so will the blueberries. They're gonna get nice and liquidy. So let's wash my hands and stick this in the oven. The oven's nice and preheated, like I said, 425. Start out hot, and then go slow. So I'm gonna let that go. Like I said, I'm gonna check on it and set in the timer for about 20 minutes. That's a good amount to see. Just take a look. If it's nice and golden, turn it down. If it needs more color, let it go. This whole thing is gonna take about 45 minutes, maybe 50 minutes, depending on your layering. But overall, it's pretty much done. Our blueberry cobbler is ready. Oh my God, it looks gorgeous. Look at that. Oh baby. I'm gonna let this cool for a few minutes, but other than that, it's good to go. You saw that all I had to do was midway through at about the 22-25 minute mark, and it was nice and golden on top. See, it's nice and gold there. I turned it down to 350 and I rotated it. Rotating is great just because most ovens are uneven. That's it. And then 20 minutes later, this baby was good to go. I love that beautiful purple color. It's gonna be sweet and tangy, and I highly recommend this with either whipped cream, some creme fraiche, mascarpone, and of course the classic vanilla ice cream. Should we dig right in? I'm probably gonna burn myself. I just want to make sure I'm not poisoning my guests. If you want to go the healthier option, it's great over some yogurt too in the morning. Oh, hot. I just love that lemon zest in there. It's so wonderful. Now this is gonna make the most incredible dessert. Of course, if you want to serve this warm, you can make this in advance and then just throw it in the oven back at 350 for 5 minutes and it'll get nice and hot. Or you can keep it at 250 warming for a little bit longer too. Whatever your oven space permits. And that's it. That's not the easiest cobbler you have ever seen. I don't know what is. And now you have a really great dessert you can pull out in a pinch of parties. Thanks for watching The Gastro Nerd. I'm Julianne Fader, and stay tuned for more delicious nerdiness to come.